Welcome back, everyone. Boys and girls, good to see ya. I'm sure mostly boys, but you know, I'm still building my audience. So I'm here to ask you a question. What would you have done differently? When we find ourselves reflecting on situations in the past, right? When we look back to moments in time where we clearly made mistakes, where we could have handled things better, we fall into a pretty easy to miss trap. We fall into the trap of, what did I do wrong? Now, on the surface, you hear those words and you go, oh, well, that's not a bad thing to think. It's always good to edit your behavior and really just try and think of what you didn't do right. That's humility. That's it's way better to think that than to think, oh, I'm 100% right. I didn't do anything wrong. It's way better to think, how did I mess up here? Now, it's important to think these things. Obviously, it's important to be humble and not to think, oh, I'm the shit, and there's absolutely nothing I can do that's a mistake. I'm basically the Pope. I'm infallible. You are honestly better off saying something different. Now, I'm not telling you to say the opposite. To say, oh, what did I do right? Or, oh, what did they do wrong? That's another way you could mess up. But basically, what you want to do is you want to think, what could I have done differently? What would I have done differently? What would I have done differently? Now, on the scientific level, on the neurological level, your subconscious listens to you all the time. Your subconscious listens to you and watches you write your things down in your journal, and it absorbs all that, right? Now, your subconscious believes most of what you're saying about yourself, if not everything. That's why it's so important to have positive self-talk, right? Now, your subconscious looks at the question, what did I do wrong? And it takes those answers and it mistakes them for instructions. Now, this is a really difficult thing to work out in your head. I understand. It's a really difficult thing to get behind. But a lot of people don't understand that their subconscious is not under their control. It's their subconscious. It's what their brain does behind the scenes, behind their conscious thought. So basically, that's most of our thinking. And it's a scary realization to have, that, oh, most of my decisions are subconscious and they're not even under my control. Well, they actually are. And they are in the sense that you need to communicate with your subconscious almost and treat it like another part of you that you need to meet and understand, if that makes sense. See, your subconscious will take a look at the answer you have for that question, what did I do wrong? And it'll see it as instruction. And it'll make it more likely the next time this situation rolls around to do those things that you did wrong. If that's all you're going to be focusing on, if that's all you're going to choose to focus on, then your mind is going to make it bigger in your reality. Your mind is going to make it grow. Where your what's the saying? Wherever your attention goes, grows. Now, this is a really easy trap to fall into. This is a really easy thing to think, oh, well, why should I change this, right? This is bullshit. This is doing too much. When in reality, this is the background mechanics for a lot of your problems in life. Instead, what you need to be thinking is, what would I have done differently? What would I have done differently with the knowledge I have now? Because what that does is that puts your mind into a learning mentality. It puts it into this mentality of, okay, how do I solve this? What is the actual correct path forward here? What would I have done differently? This is a much better mental exercise to have when you're thinking about things you did in the past instead of what did I do wrong. See, a lot of Christians have problems with this. You know how their religion is very very guilt-based, very shame-based. Of course, I'm not saying your journey to Christ is inherently laden with guilt and shame and everything. God and Jesus would not want you to feel any of that. I'm fairly certain. I talk to the guy a lot. But the people who are on this journey, they will look at themselves and go, okay, how have I sinned? What do I need to confess to? What do I need to acknowledge as something I've done wrong? And of course that's important. It's more important to know. It's more important to quickly acknowledge it and then to move on to the other part of salvation, which is repentance. Repentance means turning away from the sin and going, what could I have done differently? How should I have acted differently? Let's put this in a secular perspective, okay? I'm sure plenty of people who watch me are not Christians and don't follow the doctrine or the man Jesus. Even though I highly recommend you look into the truth about that man, you'll find a very profound journey in doing that. But let's look at this in a way that makes sense for every person, because that's who I'm trying to reach, is every person I can teach. I was in a fight with my girlfriend a few days ago, okay? There was a lot of emotion. I'm not going to get into specifics, but basically at some point I said something that was really not appropriate for the situation. I said something along the lines of, I didn't realize I was going to be on damage control today, as a guy. And this makes your girl feel terrible, right? Like, oh my god, my feelings are such a burden, and now he's like exasperated with it. He's expressing it so plainly to me. And big sigh. Oh, I just didn't realize I was going to be the coddler today, the one who has to handle your feelings. And in hindsight, it was a really mean thing to say. In hindsight, of course, I'm going to think, okay, that was wrong. It hurt her even more. Yes, I was justified in how I felt. I was justified in thinking, well, shit, I don't have the emotional energy to deal with this right now. But let's ask the golden question. What could I have done differently? What I could have done differently is I could have said this to her in a much gentler way and then just walked out of the room. I could have said, listen, I'm sorry. I understand your feelings and I want to help, but at the same time, I don't think I have the capacity to do that right now effectively. I really don't, and I need to take a moment to simmer down because this argument's getting heated, and then just walk away. Give her a quick I love you and just walk away. And it is extremely tempting to rush back into the argument, to get your point across, to get yourself make things so clear. I certainly made things clear when I said that to her. I felt like I was exhausted from listening to just how upset she was about something and just how sad something made her. And it felt wrong. It's felt wrong, this whole relationship. I'm just now starting to figure out how to get it across to her. I'm a very, all or nothing kind of guy. So obviously when I'm trying to get this point across to her, it's going to be extreme at first, and I'm going to learn how to control it. I'm like a baby scorpion. I got to control how much poison I give. Sometimes you got to give a bit of poison to get your point across. Yes, that is 100% true. Just like the Heimlich maneuver. Sometimes you got to break a few ribs if you want to get something lodged out of someone's throat and save their life. It's important. It's important not to be afraid to do what's right, of course. But I could have handled it in a better way, and if that situation comes around again, I will tell myself, okay, I need a break from this argument. This is getting really heated, and I'm sorry I don't have the mental capacity to help you with your emotions, but I don't. And then just walk away. Say I love you and walk away. Anyone who has a girlfriend on this channel, just subscribe. Yes. This man's good with the ladies. But anyways, take this lesson to heart, okay? We don't need to be tripping over the same old cracks in the road. Instead of saying, what did I do wrong? Ask yourself, what could I have done right? All right, that's all I got. Bye, everyone.